Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is May 17th, and today we're going to be taking a look at the strong storm system developing on the southern periphery of the Gulf of Alaska low and diving into Vancouver Island tomorrow, bringing some nice winds across the area, some rainy conditions, some mountain snows, and then maybe a thunderstorm chance on Thursday as all this cold air moves over the Pacific Northwest. Checking out the system right now, you can see the cloud shield approaching the coastline. It's going to bring those high clouds and increase them across the region here through this evening and tonight. Looking back, you can see this system does have a subtropical tap into the system well out over the Pacific. That's kind of moving down towards the Hawaiian Islands. Stop the trade winds down there. It's going to bring some unstable conditions there for Hawaii through this week. So heads up if you're traveling out there. Take a brief look around the rest of the country. Some severe weather is possible across portions of Tornado Alley. There is some fire danger there for New Mexico and West Texas as well. We'll also take a look at the extended forecast. We'll take a look at a cool weather model display that I want to show you about wildfire smoke here at the end of the video also. So stick with me if you would. Taking a closer look at things, you can see there's quite a bit of sunshine from much of the areas, Washington south into Oregon. You see some high clouds coming over the region here. Look at this cirrus layer here. It's got some contrails caught up in it. These are for planes coming across the Pacific or going into Seattle and Portland, or from California to Alaska, for example. And these contrails get caught up in the cirrus layer and get moved eastward in the flows. You can see them moving on quite quickly. But you can see the nice snowpack going on across much of the Cascades and the British Columbia higher terrain as well. The Rocky Mountains of Idaho and Montana. You can see Mount Hood, Mount Adams, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier also. So you see a little bit of instability building up over southwest Washington as the onshore flow and the daytime heating get going on today. Then you can see the cloud shield out here from the next system, and this is going to change our weather dramatically through the day tomorrow. So nice dry day today for Washington, Oregon, and parts of BC today, and rain will pretty much be the rule for every place except for the mountain snows, and pretty windy conditions that we're going to look at here in some detail coming up. High wind watch is in effect for the same system affecting us here in the Pacific Northwest for portions of Montana. You see that fire danger out there, New Mexico, and portions of western Texas. And there will be severe weather threat across portions of Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri during the day today. So heads up if you're traveling out there. Now, looking at the National Weather Service Spokane, they're highlighting the gusty winds on Wednesday, gust to 45 miles per hour. Heads up if you're traveling out through that direction here. And mountain snow, Stevens Pass probably going to get the best amount of snow for the Washington Cascade passes, but Snoqualmie could get some Thursday morning as well. So heads up if you're traveling eastbound out of the Puget Sound through Snoqualmie or Stevens Pass on Thursday morning. Now, checking out frosty mornings later this week, we might get a freeze here, and I know there's a lot of people planting new crops, so protect those plants if you can coming up here Thursday and Friday. Checking out Great Falls, Montana, National Weather Service, highlighting those potential high winds. Watch out if you're driving those big rigs. And gusts to 60 miles per hour are possible, sustained at 40. So watch out there, I-90, Highway 2 through Montana going through the day Thursday. Now, this is looking at the surface pressure map. Check out this transient ridge that will quickly come to an end as a strong low pressure system dives into the northern tip of Vancouver Island during the morning hours Wednesday. And then you can see it slide off quickly to the east. Probably going to have some convergent zone activity behind this for some increased mountain snows through central Cascades on the day Thursday. And then we might build a ridge for a few days behind that. We'll take a look at that in the extended here. So hang with me. Checking out the 100-meter wind speed here. This is the European. You'll be able to spot this system moving on towards Vancouver Island during the morning hours of Wednesday. Look at this, 65 knots sustained in this bent back occlusion at 100 meters. So pretty windy conditions for Washington coast, British Columbia, Vancouver Island coast. Look at these wind speeds through San Juan's Whidbey Island. Probably going to get some good gusts all the way down through the Puget Sound towards Tacoma as well as some strong winds through the strait here up towards British Columbia. So we'll look at some of the speeds here in a moment coming up, and you can see a strong push down the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and we're probably going to get a convergent zone activity going with that, as you can see the winds wrapping around the Olympic Mountains there. Now taking a look here, this is the NAM 3KM 10-meter max wind gust accumulated. This is looking closely here at Washington and Oregon. As we put this through, here comes Wednesday morning. Look at those wind speeds increase rapidly. Look at some of these up towards 50 miles per hour for Bellingham, Whidbey, San Juan's. And going on into the later morning hours. 40 for Seattle, 47 down towards Tacoma, up towards 50 miles per hour for the Washington coast. And with all that new growth on all these trees, that acts as a sail, and we could really get some power outages due to these strong winds here coming up during the day Wednesday. As you can see, this translates to stronger winds during the evening hours for portions of eastern Washington as we go through Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Now, checking out the HRRR, this is the same map, 10 meter max wind gust here. Let's put this through. This is the 12Z run. It goes out 48 hours. And look as we go through the day on Wednesday. Look at this. Some of these gusts, 51, 54 in Bellingham, 54 Quileute, 43 for Seattle, 47 Tacoma. So pretty good agreement for a pretty windy spot down there through Tacoma. And this would cause some power outages, folks. Once you start getting mid-40s, you're really going to do some damage to trees that are their leaves are fully exposed at this point, especially 54 in Bellingham. That's going to be kind of nutty up there. And you'll see these wind speeds start to pick up during the day on Wednesday for eastern portions too, especially the higher terrain, the eastern slopes of Washington. Look at some of these wind speeds well up into the 50s towards 60 miles per hour. So a nice storm blasting through the region here. And I want to show you guys this too, maximum individual wave height. Can you guess where the storm system is? Right there, slamming Vancouver Island. And you can see the wave height really pick up along the Washington coast during the day Wednesday. So heads up for these wave height increases as we go towards the day. Biggest waves will be northwest Washington coast and Vancouver Island, of course, during the day. And you can see things calm down as we go on in through this weekend. And we'll take a look at that in the extended also. I want to show you guys this too. This is showing these high clouds approach the region today. It might not be too bad in Oregon most of the day today, but then the cloud shield really comes in strongly tonight, and you can see this system just spin up on the northern tip of Vancouver Island there. So this is the forecast infrared satellite imagery loop here, according to the European. Now, looking at this here, when will this precipitation start? Look at this low pressure just wound up. It starts raining here this evening on the Washington coast. This moves in quickly through tomorrow morning into the Puget Sound, and this continues on through much of the day, and then you can see it kind of push off to the east, but you get a convergence zone across the Puget Sound, some good snows for the North Cascades in that convergence zone. You'll see it sag south there through the day on Thursday morning. So you got to watch out for Snoqualmie Pass Thursday morning. Anybody traveling across the Cascades needs to be aware of that. See this snowfall continue down through the Oregon Cascades on in through Thursday evening. And the Rocky Mountains, they're getting a good shot of snow out of this as well. BC is going to be a big winner with this snowfall amounts here. Hopefully that'll keep the fire danger down going on through the summer up there. That's where a lot of our wildfire smoke comes from, is from the forests up there in British Columbia. Now, here we go with temperatures today. Not too bad today. We could get up towards 60 for Seattle, some nice low 70s, eastern Washington, Oregon, Willamette Valley up into the mid 60s. So not a bad day today across the region. You can see this warm sector here with this mid-latitude cyclone pushing onshore here Wednesday morning. It's not going to be too chilly tomorrow, but it's going to be downright windy and rainy for many areas. So it's probably going to feel a lot chillier than the average actual temperature says. Now, this is total snow. You can see some good snowfall amounts. Washington, Cascades north of the higher terrain, Vancouver Island, higher terrain, a little bit for the Olympics. Rocky Mountains getting a good shot here too. And there is a little bit of snowfall that's going to occur mainly during the day Thursday for the Oregon Cascades and the higher terrain of northeast Oregon during the morning and afternoon of Thursday. So yeah, we'll take this. The snowpack is always a good thing, especially when you're going in through late spring here. Now let's check out the extended forecast here. We got some good model disagreement in the extended. Check this out. So here goes the system moving through tomorrow morning. Good agreement there. Then we get some ridging behind this for a bit on the European, but it quickly starts to build another trough in. And look at this going into later May. Just a monster trough here on the European model in its extended. And we have huge model disagreement. The GFS shows ridging at this point. So we have a lot to figure out here as we go through the extended. Are we going to stay super active, or are we going to get some nice warm weather? That is yet to be seen. Here's the GFS. Good agreement with that system moving through. Trough moves down across the USA. Ridging builds in behind that. And look, we get it clipped by another trough here early next week, but then the ridge really builds here on the GFS before it finally drops a trough down later on through May. So we've got some timing disagreement here on when this ridge and troughing is going to occur. And as you go on to the extended, I mean, look at that. This is early June on the GFS, but this is well off into fantasy land. And it just kind of entertainment purposes only at this point. This is the Canadian model. There goes Wednesday's morning system. Trough digs down. Some ridging behind this. We might get a nice weekend, folks, but let's not get too hopeful just yet. But look at in the extent of the Canadian, it's kind of building this ridge over the area and keeping this trough much further offshore. So we'll see how this develops over the next couple of days here and try to pinpoint some nice days coming up. This is for Friday Harbor. Check this out, getting up towards 50 miles per hour. Again, with all these new trees and all this new foliage, this is going to be a problem. If we get these wind speeds up towards 50 miles per hour, it's going to cause some power outages. Seattle Tacoma, generally near 40. The high resolution models are now calling for a little higher. The HERS said 43. The NAM says 40. The European has just around 40 as well, maybe a little bit less. But every mile per hour is going to make a difference with all these trees with their new leaves. Astoria, much less of a punch for the Oregon coast, as you can see here. This is Quileute, much stronger of a punch, up towards 50 miles per hour. Going to be power outages possible with this kind of wind. This is Bellingham. The HER is saying much stronger, 54 versus the European, more closer to 44. That's a huge difference in wind speed. There's going to be, the difference between 54 and 44 is going to be huge damage really to some of these trees. If you get 54 mile per hour gusts, you're going to get good damage and power outages. Spokane, just the gusterly westerly winds, nothing too crazy, maybe some nuisance power outages. Now I wanted to show you guys this model here. This is showing wildfire smoke. This is northern hemisphere. It's the North Pole, Greenland, Washington, Alaska. Here's Siberia out here. And as we put this, I'm going to back this up a little bit more here. You can see some of the fires ongoing across Siberia right now, New Mexico. And you can see the smoke as these fires pop up and then go away. And notice some of these fires redevelop here over New Mexico and the smoke drift off to the east. So this is a really good tool at watching where wildfire smoke is coming from. And a lot of times during the summer, Siberian wildfires will get going and we'll get the smoke eventually drift over the Pacific Northwest, and it gets diffuse and it mixes in the atmosphere pretty well, but it can kind of give us some enhanced sunsets. When we get the really bad smoke is from eastern Washington and British Columbia here, where it just kind of drifts over the region, and we get the really thick smoke that we've gotten pretty commonly over the last several years here across much of the region. But this is a very nice tool. You put this into motion, you can just kind of see this drift around. And you can see where all these fires kind of just develop and where the smoke goes from these fires. So kind of an interesting thing there. So anyway, here goes Wednesday's system here. Nice and windy for some areas tomorrow. You'll notice that rainfall. There's going to be some mountain snows, especially Thursday morning, crossing the passes of Washington. And some good snowfall amounts for British Columbia coming with this storm in through Thursday morning. But I may do a live stream tonight just to kind of watch this system as it's developing and get some new high resolution model data and see if we're going to trend upwards or downwards with these wind speeds across western Washington and up into southern BC, and see if we can include some of the northern Oregon coast with this as well and see how the wind speeds trend for portions of eastern Oregon and Washington also. So yeah, here it comes. It's going to be rolling in tomorrow morning. I might do a live stream tonight, and if not, I will talk to you guys first thing tomorrow morning when the storm is ongoing. So you guys can follow me on Twitter too. I'm the Seattle weather guy, Michael Snyder, on there. And click like and subscribe. We're at about 7,500 subscribers now. And once we get to 10,000 here on the page, we'll be able to link my Pacific Northwest weather merchandise with the YouTube page, which should help a lot. It should simplify things for me quite a bit. So hopefully you guys will click like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will talk to you guys either tonight or tomorrow.